Welcome, this is Michael Oleski, and today's topic is the underutilized and often misunderstood slide board. So who's going to benefit from using a slide board? Anybody who participates in sport or activity that involves lateral movements or changes of direction will benefit from the slide board. Even those that participate in highly repetitive forward patterns, such as runners and cyclists, they will especially benefit just from creating balance within the body and the muscular system. Overtraining the same muscles the same way day in, day out is highly stressful to the body and sets you up for chronic overuse injuries. So training in lateral movements, diagonal patterns, different directions of movement will create balance and you will benefit. So what do you want to look for with a slide board? This particular one is foldable, or I should say rollable. So you can roll it up, takes up a minimal amount of space when not in use. It's adjustable in distances traveled up to 10 feet. You want to make sure you have the booties to put over your shoes. I do recommend wearing some form of footwear. You can get by with socks, but your feet will most likely not be happy banging up against the hard plastic end pieces. So some form of footwear is going to be really advantageous. Companies do produce sprays, like a lubricant for the slide board. They can be rather expensive for what they accomplish. You can get by with something very inexpensive such as Pledge wipes. Not that I support Pledge, but they do work and it's a good value for the money. If you're concerned about some of the chemicals that are in something like that, the wipes are nice. Just put on like some gloves so you're not actually physically coming in contact with it, versus a spray which you're going to inhale no matter how hard you try not to. So let's take a look. We're going to break this down from beginner's phase, and we'll go up to some advanced movement patterns. So we're going to start with a static lateral lunge. One foot off the slide board, the other foot with the booty on the slide board. And we're just going to do is literally just lunge down, allow that slide foot just move across the slide board. So as you lower down into that left hip, right leg just kicks off to the side. Very important is just general stability. So at the bottom of the movement, you want to make sure your left hip, knee, ankle line up vertically. They're stacked. Come back up. So as you lower down, the foot naturally moves to the side. As you come up out of that lunge, leg just naturally comes underneath you. So you're really trying not to use the right foot. So we can just switch booty sides, just turn, and then from the back. Now this will heavily engage your glutes, all three muscles, max, medius, and minimus. Plus you're going to get a lot of work into the adductors. Very strong, powerful muscles that really are needed for good movement patterns. Let's get you standing both feet on the slide board, and we're going to do the same exact pattern. Okay. And you can add weight to this. It's going to hold the kettlebell, dumbbell, chest tight. But I would get really, really comfortable just controlling and moving your body weight. Now that you've got the lunge down, let's actually get some lateral movement. So I have this set up for roughly 6 foot. It's a good starting distance. It's not too short, not too long. Just get comfortable by pushing. The key is you want to drive and push off of, in this case, your left hip to push yourself to the right. Right leg is going to do a minimal amount of work until your body has shifted weight onto it. The key is you have to push hard enough to move laterally, but you don't want to weight shift too quickly, otherwise you're going to slow down and stop before you hit your destination. So it's going to take a little bit of practice, but 6 foot should be a good, comfortable starting distance for most people. Now, as you can see, you're going to drop a little bit into that left hip, just like you're starting to do a little lunge, kind of get into an athletic stance, and just push. Just push against the support, and slide across. If you're feeling good, you can pick up that inside foot. And as you push, foot still just look. As you push, if you're feeling comfortable, you can pick up that inside foot. And the foot just sort of naturally comes in contact with the ground as you're pushing off. Just get real comfortable, side to side. And you can do this 30-second intervals, just going back and forth. Don't worry about how fast you're going. Just get control, fluidity, smoothness to the pattern. All right, now we just kicked it up 2 feet, so we're up at the 8 foot. Same thing, just have to push a little bit harder. If you're feeling real comfortable, find a focal point more in front of you, and just trust what your body's doing. I mean, if you're playing a sport, you definitely don't want to be looking at the ground all the time. You've got to be keeping your eye on the opponent. There's no reason to do anything different while you're exercising. Okay, so once you're competent at the 8 foot, let's kick it up to 10. Same thing, just got to push a little bit harder. It may take a few strides just to get your rhythm. That's okay. And practice makes perfect. You might be thinking, okay, I get the end of the slide board. What can you do above and beyond that? Well, you can introduce some additional weight to the equation. So we'll bring it back down to 6 foot. Kettlebells, just hold them by the handles. Keep them engaged, fixed to your body. Think of the kettlebell as merely an extension of your hand, which is an extension of your arm, which is an extension of your upper torso, and merely an extension of your body. So it's just attached to you. So it goes where you go. And because that extra weight is at the end of longer lever segments, core work, hip work, the entire body is going to have to work harder. So you kind of get the idea. Something to keep in mind is if you're moving with extra weight, you have to push harder. So you have to build more strength, more power. At the same time, you have to control that weight shift. Because that same weight is also going to try to slow you down if you don't weight shift properly. So it's going to take some practice. Start light before you start going heavier and heavier. Now you may be wondering, is there anything else you can do with the slide board? And there are a few additional exercises to really help train your core, also your hips, especially the integration of the glutes and the hamstrings. So what we're actually going to do here is a bridge with a curl in. So set up a mat right on the edge of the slide. It's going to lie supine on the floor. Your hips are still on the pad, you're off the slide. So the only thing on the slide are your feet. And as you can imagine, your feet want to slide out, basically gravity at play. So we have to work to not allow that to happen. So we're going to do a neutral pelvis, or do a very subtle posterior tilt to engage those glutes and lower abs. Extend the hips up. Keeping the hips extended so it's like a tilted tabletop. Just allow the heels to slide out and pull them back in underneath you. But the hips stay extended, the pelvis stays fixed the entire movement. Extend, lengthen the knees, draw back underneath you. So the glutes are working to hold the hips up. The hamstrings are controlling what's happening at the lower leg, at the knees. So we're training the muscles as they're designed to work. The glutes predominantly at the hip and the hamstrings predominantly at the knee. If you're feeling good, you can bend the elbows. Bring the hands across chest. And I will admit, after doing all the slides, glutes, hamstrings, adductors, they're all getting a little bit on the tired side. So what else can we do? Well, we can do mountain climbers. So the push-up position, and we're just pulling. Nice thing is you can work as fast as you can drive those legs. So 2 basic movements, very effective, training the hips, core, and also just getting cardiovascular in. Doing intervals of the mountain climbers, it's a workout. Just keep in mind when you're done, you're going to probably feel some muscles working in ways they're not used to, so don't be surprised. The first time up and down some stairs, you're probably also going to feel it there. So I'm glad you watched. Thanks for joining in. If you have any questions, just feel free to ask. Have a great day.